Okay, so I have done more, research, or sort of the comments have corrected me on a lot of things for the Arlecchino video, and I've gone ahead and I've tried it out. And I figured, while I don't think I'm ever going to use this, I very much so last video was like, no, Iansan, no. However, this, we're going to be testing out again just a little bit, because I now know that, like, she doesn't necessarily need to have the high, rate up. She just needs to have this up, and it can be somewhat decent. Now, I don't think, it's gonna be crazy, because, I mean, like, we're talking, especially at C0, like, we're talking her not really having much, right? So, basically, the way that Iansan actually works is that instead of 0.5% attack, plus her Night Soul, which is what I thought it was, but let's go look at Alhaitham. So I basically thought this was the same sort of language, wording, whatever, as Alhaitham. However, as you can see, no, it's not, because it literally has a plus symbol right there. I thought this was slash. I completely misunderstood that, just because I don't really look at Alhaitham's kit often. But hey, this now is even weirder because they used a plus sign, but this symbol means division, which that is not what this is. But hey, basically 0.5% attack per Night Soul. So let's go ahead and say that I had, 41 Night Soul. So basically maximum Night Soul you can have, but not like the pinnacle, right? Basically, that just means that you would have, I actually don't know. Let me check. 20.5%, I believe. I believe it would be 20.5% or 21%, whatever. So you lose about 6% just automatically from being at 42% Night Soul, right? So it's not awful. So I felt Iansan was mostly at half of her, Night Soul when we were going with Arlecchino and we were testing out, right? So she would have 13% to 14% Night Soul. So let's talk about that and or 14% attack. Let's talk about that and see what that actually is. So that's a 434 attack buff, which honestly, not crazy for Arlecchino, considering all that is 40% attack. I mean, that's, 40% attack, pretty good. But, like, that's not, what Iansan, like, if you look at, Bennett, just basically look at Bennett, Iansan basically is filling the role of Bennett, and she's doing 1/3 of his buff. But she's also giving him damage bonus, which I think is what a lot of people miss about why Shielonen is kicked off some of the teams that she's on. And it's not about, Seatlali having 20% red shred. It's not about that. It's about these characters being able to use, Cinder City. And, there are a lot of characters. It's not like Kazuha, where it's like, oh yeah, there's every single Animo character can use it. No, we actually have genuine supports that are, like, basically forced to use Cinder City, which really sucks for, Shielonen, because had we had, like, other support sets that maybe Iansan would want to use, Shielonen could have been still a very, very, or not competitive, but like she possibly still could have been on the team and probably, maybe kick off Iansan or something along the lines of that. I guess if, like, Iansan literally wasn't able to use this, you probably would kick off Iansan. That's sort of the issue with Iansan here, is because they're making these support characters, be able to use Cinder, and you can't stack an artifact set. Well, can you? You might be able to, but it's only 8 seconds, so you probably can't stack it for long. But yeah, we have all this. Let's go ahead and let's get into this. Now, my Iansan, I can't really, I mean, she'll actually get more attack because she'll get 80% of her, energy recharge as attack, I think, when we use our burst or something. I don't know. Let's go ahead. I have to do, like, a specific combo because I have, C2 Arlecchino, which really, honestly, every single day. Every single day. All right, boom. All right. Okay, well, I'm being honest. I wasn't. Hello? Apply? All right. This is a part of the reason why, I don't like, just in general, Seatlali with Arlecchino. I just don't like it. Because Arlecchino has, like, some weird combos. With Mavwika, it's genuinely easier to get melts off and not ruin your stuff. But if you press or start your, like, rotation a little too early, because you have to give yourself breaks. If you start it too early, you're basically cooked from that point onward. You just immediately, you don't have any more cryo. It can just really screw you over with Arlecchino. But she wasn't really made with, Seatlali in mind. And honestly, it's not really, it's a big deal when you don't use Arlecchino a lot, which, or Arlecchino with Seatlali a lot. But, you know, it's not as big of a deal if, like, you were to actually make this, like, one of your main teams. Because you'd be able to learn around it and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to try out the 3 normal dash combo. I did get a good run of it, so it wasn't awful. But let's go ahead and let's see what we can... I just messed it up. All right, well, I do also hate the overload reaction here. Just because... All right, we're going to have to do that. And, yeah, you can just see this is awful. This is awful. All right. Oh, yeah, thanks. I hate Mel Arlecchino. It's frustrating to play. It's simple as that. It's just frustrating. Doesn't help that my room is like 90 degrees. I legitimately, like, in order to record, I have to like turn off all of my fans, and it's like 90 degrees in here. I'm just like constantly sweating. And all right, so here we go. Let's go. Should be okay to do this. Yes. Hate it. Hate it. Hate it. All right. Oh my, you. All right. You know what? We're not. I probably should have been moving there, but hey, look at this. Boom. All right. Boom. Okay, yeah, see, like there. Why? Apply, Seat Lolly. Apply. It's your entire job. You just don't do it. Yeah. It's just the issue of having to watch the cryo. All right, we're not going to look at damage. I'm genuine. Just, we're done with this. I just want to get this in the fucking video. We've done like 7 runs. That one, it wasn't bad. It kind of showed what we were looking for, right? However, let's go ahead again. I hate the start challenge. It's like a weird thing. All right, come on. Please don't get behind me. All right. Okay, charge. Okay. Hi. Yeah, thanks. Yep. Okay, thanks. I love you. Yeah, I just love it. Oh, by the way, why wouldn't I test on Abyss? Oh, yeah, because Abyss has the worst possible chamber right now. Yeah, Abyss has, like, one of the worst chambers ever for this. If I wanted to, test this with, like, ease, you just can't. You literally can't, because it just ends up having shield characters who have their own elements applied to them. So there's literally no way for me to even test this. Let's just, you know, let's not have, you know, super big issues, right? There's no point in, like, having a 5-hour-long, you know, video of this. I love you. You know, okay, we're fine, though. We're fine. We're fine. Yeah, I didn't realize I didn't use my skill. Yeah, look how bad this is. As soon... All right, there you go. You can move. That's just so bad. It's so bad. Like, as soon as you mess up one thing with Arlecchino Melt, it is just... It's pure pain. It's legitimately just pure pain. There's no other way around it. It's just like, oh, yeah. You messed up Arlecchino Melt? Oh, yeah, sure. You're not going to get anything more. Oh, yeah, and I guess I should explain why I didn't initially do the 3, you know, normals dash. It's because it uses 2/3 of your stamina. By the way, like, I used the combo. I swear I did. And it used 2/3 of my stamina. It's just not. No. All right. Boom. All right, whatever. As you can see, Iansan is staying at like half. It's tough to like actually commentate and understand what is happening because I have to watch the cryo, I have to watch Iansan's bar, I have to watch Arlecchino's health, I have to make sure we're not getting hit. Like, there's so many factors for me to make a like being able to do anything basically on this is it's so hard because you have so many things you're micromanaging onto this team. And it's why I will literally never use this team. I will literally never use this team beyond this video. Or not this team. Like, Iansan may end up being, like... If I were to use, like, Overload, right? If I were to, you know, throw Chevy on here, I probably would use this team. It'd be pretty okay, right? I just run around a whole bunch of times. But in terms of, like... But in terms of this, it's just, like, you know... Alright, here we go. Let's try and get this done. I'm probably just not gonna, like, really commentate on this because I really just... At this point... Alright, C2, screw me over, thank you. Alright. Alright. We did keep our buff quite a bit. Alright, and then it ran out right there. Alright, so I mean, towards the end there, it ran out, but we already had our, like, E-skill and stuff up because we had, you know, done all the attacks. Like, alright, so that was a good run. We did good there. I mean, I can't really, like, sure, it's C0 Iansan numbers, whether you want to look at that or not. I think the main issue is just, like, C2 Arlecchino is so annoying to play. It genuinely... This extra hit applying, like, it used to be like, oh my god, she applies with this, meaning she can vape on it. Now it's like, she can melt on it, but man, that really screws you over. Like, I hate the C2. I hate it. I used to love it. I used to be like, oh yeah, super great. But like, I feel like this makes you so more likely to screw up your rotation for a melt team. It's not. If you're considering like, oh, maybe I can get C2 Arlecchino next rerun, don't do it. Don't, especially if you use her at melt. Like, just don't. Unless you plan to like C6 her and start just one-shotting bosses with this, just don't. It just literally is not worth it, because it is such an annoying constellation to work around. You basically have to just, like, you have to work around everything. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at Iansan's attack when we have used the damage or whatever bonus. I don't think, you know, Seat Lolly is giving any extra attack or anything. Like, I don't think she's giving any attack. So I think all we should do is just use our E skill, and then we'll go ahead and we'll use our Q. Boom. So once we use our Q, we have 3,800 attack, meaning assuming we have half of, or we have 14%, you know, attack scaling from the 27% or 28%. I think I would lean towards it's more above halfway, but only slightly. But let's just assume we have 0.14, right? And then we go ahead and times that by 3,863. You then get a 540 attack buff, which isn't too far off from her 690 maximum. So honestly, it's not that bad, you know, because I mean, that's where we're at. So honestly, not bad, but I mean, she does, or also C4, we could talk about real quick. This does get better, right? This does get better. So is this like great? I personally would never use this as like a long time Arlecchino main. You want to be able to have that stamina. You just want to. And I feel like a lot of people who are like, either they're mega damage heads who really only care about the most damage, or they're people who do not use Arlecchino and have not used her consistently to know like, oh, we would prefer this. Like, it's just people who literally want to look at a spreadsheet and be like, okay, this is better. This is what this team feels like. This feels like a spreadsheet team. It makes you look good, but in practicality wise, you just would never want to waste that much stamina. You'd never want to, you know, do all this stuff. Like, sure, you may kill the boss, but how, like, Arlecchino's doing enough damage with just a regular 5 normal dash combo, right? Even, you know, dashing is a little annoying, like forcing yourself to dash. And I mean, so it worked to a certain extent. I mean, we saw very good numbers that we stayed when I got that good rotation, you know, it did stay above 200,000 on basically every single melt hit, which is good. I obviously can't really test that against like Shieldon or anything, and even if I did, I still wouldn't be, even if I was able to get rid of, you know, C2 Shieldon's buff, I would still be testing out, you know, Shieldon versus a C0 Iansan, which you could argue Shieldon's easier to get, but at the same time, like, you guys gotta understand, like, it does matter. So now that I know a little bit more about how this works, I can see why this might be the better team. But personally, you know, it seemed to me that she was very much so just losing and losing and losing Night Soul when you were doing the 5 normal dash combo. So there is very, very, like, little time I may actually use this team. And, you know, if you want to use it, go ahead. You know, I just, as someone who has Arlecchino, has used Arlecchino for a while, you just want that stamina more, man. Yeah, it went better this time. But I don't think that I would recommend it still to, like, if it was someone like, should I pull Iansan for Arlecchino? My answer is no. My answer is no, just because I just don't like the combo that you have to use for her. But, you know, I figured I would at least showcase the combo just because, you know, people are dumb enough and insane enough to use the combo. So if you want to use the combo, feel free to. But personally, from here on out, I will be recommending as though you do the 5 normal dash combo, which Iansan does not work well in, at least at, you know, lower constellation levels. C4 might help that out. C4 might help out this team a lot because, I mean, I do say, like, well, C4 you would get, well, that would be, you don't really get anything. I mean, this is a good constellation for Iansan, but, this is, yeah, like, you don't really get anything from C4, like C4 itself, it's not like, really, the big buff comes at C5 and C6. Like, these are the big buffs, and then, you know, C2 is there, dependent on, you know, your character, obviously, because C5, honestly, it's not that big of a buff. I think it's like 120. Let me go check. It's 120 because it only goes up to 810 here. So it's just 120 extra, you know, attack bonus that you can get. However, you know, this can give you up to like 300 attack. So this should, in theory, be better than getting her C5, which is pretty insane, honestly. I can see why people definitely like using Iansan. I will test her more once I get her to the higher constellation with this, especially. Because if you can keep that maximum buff, you know, I mean, oh, I guess the maximum buff really, even on my build, isn't really doing much. It's 150 attack, which, I mean, it's 150 attack, but... And I'm obviously averaging, you know, 14% attack. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher on this. You know, towards the end, it seemed like we just basically petered out. Then again, I don't know how much I should have actually done, because I'm not useful to, or I'm not used to the, you know, normal 3 dash, so I don't know if I'm only supposed to do 3 of those or some... Let me do it again. I want to do it again. As much as I hate Arlecchino Melt, I'll do it again. Alright. That's already a good sign. Yeah, I could also just do this before. Let me just do this. Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay. Gotta love the overload reaction, although it didn't do anything this time. Just gotta mention it, just because I hate it so much. Alright. Alright. Love not hitting that first initial hit. And yeah, there you go. Alright, well, I tried. I mean, we... Dang. Dang. Alright. I like how the capybara literally started dancing on Iansan's grave. We'll just leave it there. We'll just leave it there. I looked over at Iansan. She had about half, right? So it's not awful. I'll say that. But, yeah, following the capybara is annoying because, as you saw there, half of the first hits, like the first initial hits, just didn't even hit. They just didn't. They was like, no. That's how they acted. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you did enjoy, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.